my vagina.
My vagina is angry.
You can't love a vagina unless you love hair.
When she finally found her clitoris, she said she cried.
Important message, I think, is that as women, we learn to reach out to each other and realize that our strength and our courage comes from bonding with each other, and especially reaching out to young girls, especially young girls who may represent difficult times in our own lives, that we can be a bridge and a mentor to a girl who's having the same kind of obstacles and challenges in her life.
Eve Ensler, playwright, performer, activist, and the author of the Vagina Monologues. Her work with the productions of the Vagina Monologues inspired her to start V-Day, an organization to end the violence worldwide. Her thought-provoking play has inspired women around the world to change the minds of the people in their communities. This is where her story collides with the young women of Austin Peay State University. Their drive to stop the violence and affect society the way they were affected by Ensler's work is remarkable. With help from their professor and mentor, Jill Eichhorn, they work to bring awareness to the violent situations that women go through worldwide.
I was very pleased with the performance, with the work the girls put in, and then with the little personalizing twists. They put a little bit of themselves into these stories they were telling for other women.
My mom showed the monologues to me when I was a girl. I was like 12, 13 years old, and I thought they were funny. But when I got to college and I was telling people that I didn't know, you should come to this play, it's really educational, very funny, and they're like, I don't know what that is, and they're turned off by just the title itself. It's bad, because it's a really awesome play. And so I was just very shocked at the fact that not very many people even knew about it when I grew up with it in my house.
The fight's not over. Women are abused. 1 billion people, 1 billion women are going to be abused, and that's way too much. And if we can bring the awareness to just 10 people, then those 10 people affect at least 1,000 people, and that's how it gets started. And that's why it's so important to keep the message going.
There's a lot of violence still out there. Like the theme this year is 1 billion rising, and that's that 1 in 3 women will be victims of rape or some kind of violence, and that comes out to be about 1 billion women. And these women aren't abstract women out somewhere else in the world, although there are plenty. Half the population are women. This affects people here in this campus, in this building right now, in this town. There are women that make up part of that statistic, and I think it's important to keep putting the message out there. Don't let it get swept under the rug and forgotten about. And so I think that's what's great about Vagina Monologues, is because you can't see it and not think about it. You can't miss the message. It's out there, it's loud, it's in your face, and it gets your attention, and that's the point.
I think there are different stages of involvement with the Vagina Monologues. There's the experience you have when you see it for the first time, which can be liberating all on its own, because we're not used to hearing women's stories in an honest way in a 90-minute period where our bodies are not objectified. And that's a new experience for all of us. The next intensity of experience is performing in the show, because it is transforming to speak these stories in public on stage with other women and feel like you don't have to hide these stories in silence, that there is a way to process and bring those stories into light by performing the show. And that happens through the experience of performing the show. And then there's another level of experience, and my students report this to me and I've experienced myself, but it's directing or coordinating that the show happens, and just to make that experience happen, to provide the support for that experience to happen for other women. And so there's, and I wouldn't say one is better than the other, they're just all different experiences, and I think each woman comes into the experience that she's ready to have.
We want to become doctors, we want to become engineers, we want to pursue bigger things. So why not do that? I mean, we're fighting for our rights when we shouldn't be fighting for our rights.
I have a son, and he's a big part of the reason why I joined Vagina Monologues, because I want the world to be more educated in what women go through. I don't want him to grow up in a world where men are not only ignorant of what women go through, but refuse to see it.
Just to be open-minded and to be aware of things that happen in the world concerning women and violence, and the treatment of women and girls throughout the world, and educate yourself and teach the newer generation that, so we can end things like this from happening. So we don't have to worry about domestic violence. We don't have to worry about mistreatment of women in America and throughout the world.
I guess the education would come strictly with being aware of what's happening with women, and most women think, oh well, we've got equality, that's all over with, right? We've earned it all. No, it's not, and it's not nearly over. But the one thing that always sets everything off is the vagina monologue. Before the vagina monologue, it's a class, and somehow it seems like after the vagina monologue, it becomes a group.
We're a domestic violence shelter for women and children. We provide safe housing for, or emergency temporary shelter for women and children who are being abused. When we receive monies from the Vagina Monologues, what that money goes to is to help the women that are transferring out of shelter into their own safe housing with security deposits, electric deposits, water deposits, and that sort of thing. The statistics are a woman leaves her abuser 7 to 10 times before she actually stays gone. So we see repeat clients all the time, and we welcome them with open arms every time they come back to shelter. We see women with children, without children, higher income, lower income. We serve rural counties as well, military women.
Watching women transform through the experience the more I watched students participate and transform through the experience and talk about what it meant to them to be part of the show, and then watch them make the kinds of decisions they were making, which usually involved a lot of adventure and ambition and taking charge of their lives. It has come to feel, to me, as much of a requirement as in the university context as we think composition is a requirement, or math, that participating in Vagina Monologues is about claiming your experience as a female in this world, and that the bonding that happens in that process makes you feel stronger from the inside. It is an act of courage to claim your power and to speak your truth in this culture.
Thank you all for coming.